Everybody join online. Just we got some big noise in the background. There we go. Okay. So just so everybody kind of has a little bit of background, I actually started in sales, believe it or not, at technically 10 years old, but I'll go with 12 because that was really when it was. That's all to say, basically, I've got about 37 years of sales experience. And the coolest thing I ever did in sales, and when I say coolest, it's not because it was cool and fun, it's because it was the most challenging, was I owned auto repair shops for 9 years. And I only sold high ticket repairs. And now it would be cool if you were into cars and, you know, had 100 grand to fix your car up, you know, to restore like say a 67 Camaro. But when your car worked perfectly yesterday, and then you come to a stoplight and it breaks down and you have to get it towed in and you have to spend $2,500 to repair it. Has anyone in here ever been happy? Been like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Not $2,500.
No way.
So I really had to understand the empathy and the person on the other side of the counter, where they were coming from, what their car was worth, why they were hesitant to put that money into a car. And it was essentially something that they never wanted to buy. And I was typically the person in the line of fire because they wanted somebody to either blame or at least take their frustration out on. So I learned a lot in that. Now, fast forward to today, I am an absolute student. I love learning. And about 2 weeks ago, I actually reached out to Nikki and I said, I had a total aha of something that I've been doing completely wrong, though I do it right sometimes. But when I say I've been doing it completely wrong, it's because I haven't been doing it consistently in the way this kind of aha came over me. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer I'm going to ask one question as a role play question, and I want you to answer it the way you would answer it. It's a very easy question. So can I have a volunteer that's willing to answer a question? Okay, we got Crystal and Aaron that both jumped in. So I'm going to actually probably ask both of you. So we'll start with Crystal because I saw her hand go up first. And Crystal, the question is, so we're on a phone call. I'm the consumer, you're the agent. And the question is, so Crystal, that's all great. And, you know, happy to get together with an appointment for an appointment with you. But before I do, can you tell me a little bit about your credentials and why I should use you as an agent?
Sure, yeah, no problem. I actually have quite an extensive background, ranging from civil engineering, architectural design, interior design, cabinetry design, and sales. And so it's a pretty well-rounded experience there. I've worked in sales pretty much my whole life. You can be guaranteed that you're going to have somebody that is educated and informed and ready to negotiate on your behalf.
Excellent. Thank you, Crystal. Jaden, was it you had your hand up as well? Or no? Who was it? Somebody? Aaron. Aaron did. Okay. So Aaron.
Oh, and Maurice.
Oh, and Maurice. All right. Sounds good. We'll get a few of them in here. So Aaron, so before we get together, what are your credentials and why should I use you as an agent?
So just as a disclaimer, I'm not actually an agent, I'm an ISA, but yeah, so you know, I've been in the Southern California area for the last 10 years. I'm very familiar with the area. Been, you know, in real estate on and off for the past 5 years. You know, I'm very, when it comes to things to do around the area, I'm very familiar. In terms of, you know, working hard, there's going to be no one that'll work harder for you.
Like last minute.
Excellent. Thank you, Aaron. All right, Maurice, I'm gonna give you the go at this as well. So Maurice, you know, great talking to you and happy to get together for that appointment. But before we do, what are your credentials and why should I use you as an agent?
Well, Alex, let me tell you, I've been an agent for right around 5 years, but more importantly, my entire career has centered around hospitality and serving customers and guests. And that's exactly what you get with me. You're going to get someone that's used to working long nights. You're going to get someone that is used to not taking no for an answer. And you're going to get you're going to have the privilege of working with someone who is used to building and fostering relationships with many, many vendors, and someone that's going to be dedicated to you day in, day out.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Maurice. Okay. All right, so before I go into my big aha on this, because you guys all answered it great, and I answered it very similarly. Tell you what I answered. And by the way, when I answered this, and all this happened, I don't know if you guys, you know, some of you may or may not have some of the tools or in technology. I know I shared it with Nikki as well. I now have an AI call grading bot where the AI is the customer and we have to respond to the customer. It's a full-on role play where I speak as the agent. Right, and I get scored at the end of it. And this AI, it's machine learned. They're literally talking to me like a human, telling me what they want out of a house, what they don't want, based on what they answer and how I respond to them. It tells the next thing. It's not a preloaded bot. So this is where I came up with this. So they asked me what my credentials were. And I said, that's a fantastic question. I've got over 30 years experience in sales and negotiations. My background isn't just real estate, but in the 6 short years that I've been in real estate, I've done hundreds of transactions, which is oftentimes more than most agents have done in their career. So therefore, you've got somebody with relevant and current experience. Previous to this, I had a company where I had 165 employees and negotiated multi-million-dollar contracts with the top CEOs in the nation in the health insurance industry. So anyway, I continued down that path, and I thought I nailed it. And at the end, the AI bot said, that wasn't satisfying. Can you tell me more? And then I said, wait a second. I just spewed for 4 minutes, and this is completely taking the conversation talk ratio way out of whack for where it's supposed to be. What more can I tell them? And it hit me that everything I said, and while everything that the 3 of you said was fantastic, it didn't go to the heart of their question. And the heart of their question is, why should I use you? What's important to me? So there's a very, very easy response. And by the way, I'm using this as the example, but I'm going to show you how this goes through the whole phone call, through all of their questions, not just this question. So ultimately, so Travis is answering with something as well, where it's talking about, you know, exhausting their options. The even easier question is, so if Nikki were asking me that, I'm going to say, Nikki, that is a fantastic question. Let me ask you, what is the most important thing you're looking for in an agent that you're going to choose to work with?
Tell them, Alex, preach. Sorry.
Okay. And by the way, at the end of that, right, you could say it very simply by saying, Nikki, that's a great question. What's important to you in an agent? But to add on that, what's important to you in the agent that you're going to choose to work with is, by the way, a little NLP, a little embedded command there, choose to work with. You're choosing. And I'm using the word choose because I know you're going to choose me, right? It's just like, you know, to get your home sold, right? They always talk about that cadence and the downswings, right? Your home sold, right? Choose to work with. These are important factors. So the question is simply, yeah, what's most important? Now let's hypothetically say, by the way, you know what it turned out to be on that call for me? Communication. I didn't hit on communication. So imagine if your client or your prospect on the other end of the phone has bought one home in their life, and the home sale actually went as it should. for all intents and purposes, right? They closed on time, inspection, request for repairs, everything was great. But
Let's
you
go.
got that inspection on day
Party
4.
time.
You negotiated the request for
Fredo,
repairs.
No, we actually have to go so we can get the.
Nick,
Snap
can you
this up.
please mute yourself? Thank you.
Okay, so let's say you got the inspection on day 4, you negotiated repairs on day 5. And the appraisal didn't come in. You had an 18-day appraisal contingency. The appraisal didn't come in until day 16. And for those 11 days in between, there's really nothing to talk to the client about. So you didn't reach out to the client. Nothing wrong with that, but it's because we know the industry and we know there's nothing to talk about. But the client doesn't. The client is buying a $500,000 house and they have anxiety. And when they don't hear from you, they think everything's wrong, right? They think everything's falling apart. I'm just using a hypothetical scenario here, but in that case, that person was in a situation where they had anxiety building up. They may have even reached out to you and you were slow to respond to them just because you knew there was nothing crazy important to respond with. So now in their next home sale, they're really looking for, what are your communications? How much am I going to be kept in the loop? I want my anxieties calmed, whatever it is. And we just listed our CV. And in our CV, it said nothing about communications. Right. So again, getting back to it. So now how does this apply in something else? Well, I'll use a real quick example. Who wants to volunteer on this one?
Sam, Dan, Joan, all raise their hands.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
It says disconnect audio.
So Weeks. Thank you.
Okay. Who's a volunteer on another simple question? All right, Jaden. All right, Jaden. I love this home that you're showing me, but can you tell me how much is the HOA fee?
Absolutely. I'm not in front of my computer right now, but I can make sure to get that information over to you as soon as possible. Do you have any other questions as it relates to the HOA and what that offers?
Yeah, so I love where you ended that, right? Because that's right where you were going. So I mean, I love that you're not in front of your computer too. That's awesome. Anybody guilty of being in front of their computer and just reciting how much the HOA is? Right, without asking what's important in an HOA, right? Because if that's a kill question for them, let's say the HOA is $200 and they go, oh no, I don't want to spend any more than $50 on an HOA. Right, what we didn't find out was what's important to them in the HOA, because if that 200 included full fiber internet, because the community had fiber to it and you didn't have to pay for it, and that saved them over $100 a month, and they didn't have a water bill and their front yard landscaping was taken care of, right? And that was over $200 that they'd pay in a $50 HOA. Would they be okay with that? Right, so we don't know what their concern is around the cost of the HOA. So it goes to the heart of the same thing, right? Where it's somebody says, so how much is that HOA? So Jaden, I would go right to where you went. It's a great question. I don't have that information in front of me right now. And I'm working on, with multiple properties, so I don't want to recite a wrong number to you. What's important to you in the HOA and the price of it that, that has you asking this question? Right, because then when they answer that, we know how to address them back. So I just gave you the example on your credentials on an HOA. You could, again, apply this across the board. And that's where my aha moment was. I said, I've been, in sales for 30 plus years, and I haven't used it universally. I definitely use it, but I didn't realize how it really applies to almost
Is it just
any
Pinnacle
question
Bank,
that's answered.
recipient name, Grand Living Homes?
Tony, we got Jen muted as well.
One more friendly reminder, just really quickly. Alex, I'm so grateful for this information you're sharing. For those of y'all who are not speaking at this moment, please double check, look at your screen, make sure you're muted so we can hear Alex without interruption.
Perfect. Well, that was the big aha. That's what I wanted to share. I shared it with my team, and I don't know, it just, like I said, it hit me like a wrecking ball right between the eyes when I was just, it was a big moment for me in learning my career here, and this just happened 2 weeks ago. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Alex. That is a perfect segue into our role play today. Okay, so please remember the one thing I tell y'all each time is that when we attend these sessions, it is not enough for you to attend. These things only work if you apply them, and do not apply them one time, apply them 5 times, 10 times until these questions are naturally the way that you know to ask. So, what we just covered right now is to say, if somebody asks you, why should I work with you? You may have a 1 or 2 liner at most. I can tell you about my experience and how I've helped hundreds of other people to get in their home. But what's going to be most important here is what you're looking for. Tell me, what are you looking for in an agent? We need that person to feel special. It is inherently the question. They are saying, how will you make me feel special? And the answer is their own. So remember, when we talk with a lead, our goal is 20% of the talking. Their goal is 80%. When we speak, we do not learn anything new. While they talk, we are learning more about them. So your best bet, if you find that you're in a monologue saying a lot of sentences, is to switch and ask a question instead. Yes, Mike.
I was just gonna attest to what Alex had just covered. We had a lead where we called and we figured there was an ability to get an appointment, but we weren't able to get it on the first call. And we were just listing off credentials and just spewing out a bunch of things about us. We had a different agent call asking the question, what's most important to you? And we were actually able to get in the door based on what he had said. And we actually still got the appointment with somebody else calling and basically asking that question specifically.
Beautiful. Thank you. What a win. Adam, yes, and then we'll hop into a role play.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? I'm using a different
Yes,
mic
sir.
today.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So I was going into a potential listing appointment just 2 days ago, and I look younger, relatively newer to real estate, and it was an SOI lead. I know them through the church. And I sit down with them, and they were telling me how they were looking at using another agent that's been there for a long time. They're actually looking to retire soon. And they said, why should we go with you? Because like you're younger and you're great, we know you, but we feel more comfortable going with this other person because of their experience. And I said, well, tell me what you would hope to gain by working with the other agent. Like what's important to you and why would you use them? And Tony Hansen at Better Homes and Gardens gave me that specific question, which is why I wanted to share it. And they said, well, we really just want to sell our home. We're looking to move kind of quickly. And I said, well, I'll tell you this. I may be newer and you may know that because you know me, but the other agent, she's been doing this for so long. She's looking to retire and she probably has so many other clients that she's still working with. I don't know how she'll prioritize you. What I do know is that I will prioritize you because maybe I can't speak for the other agent. She might not need to sell your home as urgently as I do. It is as important to me to sell your home as it is to you guys because this doesn't just have to work, like it has to work for me as much as it has to work for you. Like I do absolutely need to sell your home. So you have my utmost prioritization because it doesn't just need to work for you guys to sell your home. This has to work for me. And I'm in this for you guys. I'm in your corner. And I actually won the listing after that. So we're looking at doing some contracts a little later once they finish some renovation and are ready to list.
What a win. Love that. Love that. And keep in mind, y'all, the value in that is that first he asked, but really you should know for yourself, what is your individual 1 or 2 liner? Because for somebody new, that's your best bet, right? You don't have the experience to stand on, but to be able to say, I have the time to dedicate to you that perhaps another agent does not. That is absolutely you who is a new agent. That's your selling point. Okay. All right. Knowing that, we are going to get into a role play. For those of you who have been here before, the format will be the same. For those of you who are new, I will tell you what to expect. We will have one person volunteer as an agent, one person who volunteers as client. Whoever is client, I will request that you have a minimum of 2 objections. And for today, I would like for one of those to be, why should I work with you? Okay. Whoever is not agent or client, your position today is to take quality feedback. This is not a scenario where we pat each other on the back and say, good job, you made it through the hot seat. This is the time to say, this sentence was excellent, I'm going to use it as well. Or this word is where we derailed the conversation. This tonality is where we had a breakdown. And to be able to give that feedback that we cannot get when we are live on the phone, okay? Knowing that, who will volunteer? Fortune favors the bold.
I'll be the client. I'll be the client.
Perfect. And then it sounds like KRG had an agent. Who's the agent?
Liliana.
Liliana. And then who was the client? Candy? Was it Candy? Perfect. Okay. The rest of you, I already have my pen and paper out. The rest of you at this time, to simulate the call, we will all turn our cameras off, just like a real conversation. We do not read each other's expression. And at the end, we will all come back on. My request to you, Liliana, is to keep your call around 7 minutes and see what we are able to accomplish. Candy, do you know what your 2 objections are? You don't have to share them, just have to know what they are.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. And then our scenario is, this is the first call. It is a discovery call. So let's see what we can gather. Liliana, please tell everybody what market you are in.
Las Vegas.
Thank you. And whenever you are ready, Liliana, please say ring, ring.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hello, Katie. This is Liliana from Night Real Estate Group.
Hello, but I'm Candy.
Oh, sorry, Candy. I apologize for the confusion. I'm calling because you recently visited one of our websites, and I'm double checking to see if you're still looking in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but what I found on there, I mean, I don't know if really it's in my price range.
That's completely understandable. A lot of people have that same concern. Tell me why you feel that way.
Well, I mean, the houses that have everything I want are like $10,000 over what I think I'm willing to spend.
I hear you. Being that that's one of your concerns, may I ask you, can you tell me a little bit about your current living situation?
Well, we currently own, but not in Vegas.
Oh, great. Where are you guys from?
Well, we're from Indiana.
A little bit of a long ways. What kind of makes you guys want to transition over to Las Vegas?
Well, it's different. We're just ready for something different, and I want something with a nicer weather, with just where we could lay back and just relax.
I hear you. I was thinking maybe trying to get away from that snow. So
Yes.
So have you had a chance to look at any homes in Las Vegas, or do you guys visit here a lot?
Sometimes we go down there. We haven't really visited a lot of homes yet. We haven't really found an agent that we're willing to sign with to have to go to be able to look in the homes yet.
Got it. I hear you. And the question I have for you is, being that you said you haven't really, zoned in on an agent, tell me what's important to you in an agent.
Well, we want somebody that's going to help us because they want to help us, not just because they want a paycheck.
That's very important. I appreciate you letting me know that because I definitely value the same type of concerns and wants when I look for my home as well. It's very important to have somebody by your side that you trust. Have you guys, so being that you bought a home before already, would this be your second buy?
Yes.
Okay. Very nice. So is this going to be more so of a primary residence, or do you think it could potentially be even an investment property down the line for you guys?
Well, I said we wanted to go live there, so most likely our residence.
Okay, so primary residence for starters, for sure. And does this look more so like a house, condo? What does this house look like for you guys?
We want a house. I definitely don't want people living above or below me.
Got it. I'll definitely make note of that. And then tell me a little bit about location. Have you guys had a chance to discover some of the areas in the city?
We're looking in the Nevada area or surrounding. I mean, really, it just depends on if we find what we want in the home.
Got it. And I hear you. Not too sure on location, just mean making sure it fits your needs and wants. So
Yes.
to dive deeper on that, I haven't really asked you the most important question. So you told me that you guys are looking for change. How will this affect you once you actually do move here? And what is that date
I
of
can't hear anything from you because the sound from the I didn't hear any of that. I'm so sorry. There was like sweeping or something going on. That's not in role play.
Yeah.
No, you're okay. Let's resume. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I haven't asked you the most important question yet. When it comes to this move, I know you guys said you're looking for change. Out of all the reasons that you could be looking and including that change, what's the main reason why you guys are really needing to get away from Indiana and come here?
Well, we just want to relax. Our 4 kids have grown, they're out of the home. We want to kind of downsize and just go to where we can relax. So
Okay, so just looking for some peace, looking to really just change the flow of your life where you can have an easier life that what you're probably looking for. That sounds like relaxation for sure. But what does that look like for you guys? Does that include entertainment? Does that include a pool? What does that relaxation look like for you guys?
I definitely want an in-ground pool and a nice backyard that is enclosed, like a privacy fence, so that I can just relax back there and swim or whatever I need.
Okay, I hear you. So it definitely sounds like you have a little bit of needs that are going to be good for you coming forward. Tell me, what does that day-to-day life look like once you've actually made that move?
Relaxing.
Okay. So it sounds like that's just the main goal is you're looking for some change overall to just get from where you are now, get into that relaxation state. Have you guys had a chance? I know we spoke about it earlier. We haven't really zoned in on a really actual agent. Have you had a chance to even speak to anybody at all on the process and just create a plan for yourself?
We have spoken with some people. We haven't created an exact plan yet because, like I said, we haven't really decided to hire anyone yet. And we don't have our home sold here in Indiana yet. So
Got it. So you're just trying to make sure that you're kind of probably at the beginning stages, trying to figure out if a move even makes sense. Let me ask you, I got 2 more questions for you in relation to this.
The move makes sense. It's just that we haven't, our home is on the market. And that money is what we're going to use the total sale of the home to put on the new home.
Okay. How long has your home been on the market so far?
It's only been on the market for 2 days.
Okay, so very early on. With that agent there,
you know what? I think can we talk later? I have to go. I forgot I have to be at yoga in an hour.
No problem at all. I understand that you got somewhere to be. So I'd like to just recap and get with you on a better date where we can kind of go over a plan for you. It sounds like you're already moving on your process there. So your house is probably going to sell quickly potentially. And so I'd like to help you guys figure out what that's going to look like so you can clear up that concern of actually having a place to be when you guys move here.
But what would you be able to do for us? I mean, I know you're moving in to kind of see, but I would like to know what you could do for us.
So
this is a common occurrence with the realtors that call me. So
Understandable. And I know that's probably a little frustrating when you're being told one thing and not met with what you actually need. And so that's what I would like to do, is keep your needs and wants at the forefront. I think what you're telling me is that you're looking for change, you're looking for relaxation. And if I'm giving you things that aren't even working for you, or even keeping that in mind throughout the entire transaction, or even just in conversation, what am I doing other than wasting your time? So my goal is to really just dive a little deeper on what's important to you and your family and help you reach those goals.
Okay. Like I said, I really do have to go. I will think about it, but I really need to go. I have to go to yoga. I have to leave for my yoga class.
Okay, understandable. A better time I could re-engage with you maybe later on after your yoga class, and we can maybe create a plan to set up a meeting, maybe a Zoom call.
Yeah, maybe around 7 p.m.
Okay, that works. That gives you some time to think about things, and then we can re-engage at 7 o'clock. I'll give you a call, yeah, later on today.
All right. Thank you so much.
No worries. I hope you enjoy your yoga class.
Thank you.
No worries. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody, cameras back on. Thank you. And Candy, since you are client, you will give feedback first. After that, we will go to a couple in the room, and then I will give closing commentary.
I'm only going to give a couple just so that it can keep moving. And so one thing is, like, when you called me, my name was wrong, which is okay, but some people get really offended when you like pronounce their name wrong or you don't say their name right. Sometimes I've been hung up on for that. The other thing was, I said that we were ready to make a move and that we wanted to sell our house. And then when you had restated it to me, it was, okay, so you're not sure if you want to make this move yet, or if you're not ready yet, or something along those lines. Overall, I like how long you kept the conversation going. You were you ignored when I said I had to go the first time. I thought it was pretty great overall how you kept the conversation going and that you cared about my needs.
Excellent. And I will say a part of that may be attributed to the role play itself, but I will encourage all of you, when you are repeating something back, your best chance at being heard is to use their exact language. Okay, so when Candy says anything, if she says relaxation, we're not going to reframe it. We're going to say explicitly, okay, and tell me, what does relaxation look like for you? To make sure that we are digging deep on what their expression is. Okay, good. And then just for the sake of time, before we open it up to the floor, I will ask, if you have heard the feedback, please do not repeat it for the sake of time. Make sure that you are giving your individual feedback. Yes, Aaron.
I thought that was really, really great. Just the overall flow, everything that it was conversational. It was very, very good. You used, of all the reasons to make a move, what has you want to move right now. That was great. The only thing I would possibly say is towards the end when she's like, I just gotta go. I gotta go. You have, like, the same time when someone says not interested, you only have a couple seconds to really get it. You push towards the end for the appointment. They're like, okay, cool. What time's your yoga class is over in a couple hours? I'm gonna give you a call then. I'll talk to you later. Just that's what I would do. After she's like, well, I don't know. I really got to check my calendar for that appointment time. Like, okay, I'll just call you and try you after your yoga class. You have a great one. Get some good stretches in, or throw like a little candy or like a joke at the end of it. Like, okay, get some good stretches. I'll call you after yoga. We'll reconvene then. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. And just so y'all are aware, those of us who have attended regularly know this, but when somebody tells you that they have to go, the first time that they say it, we are ignoring it. Okay, we do not let them go. So the way to ignore it is to say something like, perfect, one last question, and transition and continue asking until it comes up that second time. The second time, you need to wrap it up right now, because we will make people irritated. We already ignored it once. So the second time, we can appear tone deaf. Make sure that on the second time you say, absolutely, when's a better time for me to give you a call? And if you don't get one, wrap it up quickly. Thank you. Sam.
Yes. I was looking for a little bit more maybe tone or energy matching with Candy, just to relate a little bit better. I think you were high energy most of the time. And I think it would have been helpful if you would have kind of just modulated your tone a little bit throughout that, just to 'cause she felt she was definitely a little wary of you the whole time. So it might have been a little bit more approachable if you would have dialed back on the tone just a bit.
Thank you. Dan. Oh, Dan, you're muted.
There you go. So I agree, the conversation was good, but the thing I've missed is no response to the objection about the price. Is $10,000 too much? Well, if you're buying $500,000, is that really, you lose that in closing, that's not an issue. I would like to have seen that addressed. Are they paying cash, et cetera? Just ask a few more questions along that, but other than that, it's good.
Thank you. Patrick.
I would say when she was able to get the potential buyer to say relaxation, to me, the word that just popped out is feelings. Like she really got the prospective buyer talking about feelings. And then that's where we want them to be, because they're going to buy their home based off of their feelings. And then two really quick bullets, just little phrases that I've been using recently. Stephen at Better Homes and Gardens has really pushed me on this. Is just kind of using as a cushion the phrase, I'm curious, because sometimes we'll ask pretty direct and personal questions. But when you're like, oh, I'm curious, why do you want a bigger home? Like it just feels more like a cushion. And then the last one, I try to never say no worries. I try to say happy to.
Beautiful. Thank you. Last one, Brittany, and then I'll give closing commentary.
After she had said that you guys were going to talk at 7, since relaxation, it sounds like she's a little stressed out with the whole move. I probably would have asked if she was okay if I spoke to her realtor that's listing the property there, just to see if I could get a good timeline of what she's looking at, so I can match her timeline to make sure it's in line with her move and what her ideas and goals are to move. And then you kind of have a reason to talk to her and a little bit more to dive in about at 7.
Good. Thank you. Excellent feedback. I appreciate y'all paying close attention during this role play. I will give a couple of closing things, and remember, everybody, the feedback that we are giving is not exclusive to Liliana. These are things that each of us are able to apply. We use this time as a case study, and so we walk away with something else for us to implement. Knowing that, Liliana, when this person said, I want somebody who wants to work with us and doesn't want us where we're not a paycheck, okay? That the opportunity there to close better would be to ask explicitly, what would help you feel that you were the priority and not the paycheck, okay? Because that's the truth. She brings it up a second time because we didn't get the full answer. We got what she didn't want, but we didn't get what she did want to experience, okay? Peel back. Next, when you got to that motivation piece, you asked that right introduction question. You followed it up saying, okay, and what does that look like? But you filled it with an answer and said, does it look like a pool or does it look like, and what we accidentally did is we shifted the mind back into criteria by filling it with criteria questions. So when you do the motivation, it's important for us to stay there for 2 minutes, only with questions that allow them to set the stage for their feelings and for nothing else to interrupt it. Finance questions are out, criteria questions are out, timeline questions are out. Exclusively, we're giving them, here's a blank canvas, you paint it for me and tell me. That way they don't switch, because when we went back to it, she just said relaxation one more time, okay? Additionally, somebody who you can hear is stressed, because this lead was, An expression I will encourage you to use is to say, listen, I know how much you must be juggling going through the process of making a move across state lines and having your current home sold only to find another one. This is one thing that I can take off your plate. The expression I can take off your plate makes you sound like the asset. Okay, it doesn't even go into the explicit because I'm going to negotiate and so on. That is your human to human connection. I can take this off your plate. Okay. Finally, when we get to the conclusion, remember, anytime you hear a lead does not live locally, we need to find out if they have dates to come to town. Okay, because if we don't explicitly ask, what happens if she is coming in 2 weeks? We didn't know to increase our follow-up and we missed that chance to get belly to belly. We didn't do anything different than those other 10 agents who she was potentially irritated with. Okay, one last question before you go. Tell me, do you have any dates as of now to come and visit? Okay, perfect. And then make a plan from there. Okay, all right. I appreciate all of you coming. Today we had, I want to say 155 people in here at one point. For those of you who are participating in boot camp for DCM, we are going to have even more agents attending. So please honor as we move forward muting your mic. That way, for those who are participating, they really have the chance to get in the zone. It can be very nerve-wracking to perform at the level we want to with the client with the interruptions from the audio. So please be mindful of that in the future. And I appreciate everybody cameras on and cameras off. Don't wait for something to happen, y'all. Go and make it happen. Till next time.
Thanks, Allie. Bye.
Good job, Liliana.